Hello there, everyone. I recently went to the Ice Castle up in Midway. It's pretty sweet. If anyone wants to go there, I would highly recommend it. A little note, bring as wide angle a lens as you've got, because you're going to be right up next to this stuff and you've got to shoot pretty wide. Just want to flip through some of these images for you. See some of the images I made here. This is looking up through one of the little walkways. So pretty neat stuff going on up there. Now the reason I'm showing you these is I've got quite a few questions on how did I get these to look this way. This one you can see it processed a little far. I like it, a little less on this one. So let's just jump into it. Maybe I'll try and show you a couple ways we've done this. Alright, so back out of my filters. Okay, so let's jump right in here and pull up an image. If you just need a little bit of detail sucked out, just use the clarity slider in Lightroom. You can get a pretty good ways right with that. The next thing you could do is try your contrast a little bit. And if you would like to get a double clarity, show you a little trick here. You can add one of these filters and get a little more clarity. Just cranking it up, paint it in. Let's go ahead and get rid of those and jump right into Photoshop. I'm going to go ahead and turn clarity off because we're going to push it later. And this lens I'm shooting with does vignette quite a bit, so you can see a little purple at the edge. That's because I'm shooting with a APS-C lens on a full frame camera. But no worries, because I really love that lens. So we'll pop it right over here into Photoshop and we'll look at just a couple quick ways to pull out some detail. First, let's use unsharp mask. Okay, so I made a new layer. We're going to go to Filter, Sharpen, Unsharp Mask, pull that open. Normally, when you learn about sharpening, you do a low radius and a higher number on the amount. Okay, you can see we're blowing out our highlights to death here, but we've got the radius quite high, and we're going to start messing with our amount. And you're going to have to do a layer mask in order to work with this image because we got the highlights just going, and the shadowier areas not as much. So we pulled out detail here in our darker areas, and we need to work on highlights. We're going to add a layer mask here. This is really pretty rudimentary, but you get the idea. So we're going to pull up that filter again, and we're going to just back it off a little bit. Okay. Let's turn the radius and the amount down until we see something on this layer that's not quite so horrid. Okay, now that's pretty bright to start with. We should have brought that down originally in the raw, and that would be done in the raw. Okay, let's pull another option. Let's use Nik software. This is probably my preferred method, but not everybody has it. So let's go down to our Nik Color Effects Pro 4. I believe Google owns Nik now, but they do a good job. Okay, I've got Total Contrast, which is probably my #1 favorite filter of all time. I mean, look at that. Bam, just pops right out. But you could also use, if you'd like, the detail extractor, and you can use them together. You see, notice I hit add filter. You can look at them separately. You can see together they work pretty well. So just play around the sliders till you get something you like, And that's even pulling some details out of these highlights. So you can click OK to that. It makes its own layer mask. It's Nik's pretty smart Photoshop filters. I'm sure there are other versions. I'm just going to show you a couple here. Thinking of filters, the Topaz Adjust, or any of the, there are many of the Topaz Labs filters. Check out topazlabs.com. They do a good job. Maybe we'll just take a real quick look at the Topaz. We could use Topaz Detail, maybe? Or Topaz Adjust 5 would also be a good choice. Topaz people do a real good job with bringing high quality filters at really good prices. So check out Topaz Labs. No, they're not paying me to say that, but I quite like them. You saw how many of their plugins I have. A little bit slower than the other guys. About a tenth of the price. So let's see. And you've got kind of your preview up here to the left. So if you just mouse over these, anytime they talk drama or bold details, you can click there and you'll just kind of see preset. HDR often does this kind of a look. It's a little more subtle. I kind of like that one. And then you've got details right here. You can just crank these sliders. And just go to town. Whatever you want to do. If you like that look, I think I went a little far myself. And you might do a curves, contrast, some kind of thing on this after. Just to, you know, whatever you want to do. But that's Topaz. Lastly, if you have HDR filter software, go ahead and try that, okay? I've got HDR effects. So just real fast, I don't want to go too long on this one either. But that's something to try to suck out details. Okay, get that open. You can see we can go to split view here. So you can see what that's doing. That's really pulling those out. And how much you do is right over here. If you want to make it flatter, okay, and click OK when you're done. So that's a good way to get started on sucking details out of images. You know they're there. You can certainly go too far with these. Depends on the look you're going for. Try them on snowmobile or snow skiing. Vehicles in the sand, anything that throws up stuff. So give it a try. Pull some images out and see what kind of details you can suck out. Don't be afraid to pull details out and then just mask off whichever needs that little bit of details extracted. So, hey, thanks for watching. Check out more videos to come soon.